Hello, good evening, and welcome. Yes, it's that time again. It's quiz night. Yes, it's Leanthony Davis. Yes, it's the science fiction quiz night featuring This Island Earth. Recorded live here on my YouTube channel. But before we start, a few announcements to make. This Saturday at 1 p.m. on YouTube, I will be making a return journey to Mr. Hyde's live stream show as his guest for a Universal Horror live stream. So don't miss that. It will be fantastic. Yeah, I know, it's a terrible pun, isn't it? But anyway, moving on. Next week, I'll be launching a new page called the Horror Page, which is a sort of extension of the Horror Group. So keep an eye out for that. And also, I will be launching two more groups that the themes will be familiar to you. The Carry On group and, of course, the Hammer Horror group. The Carry On is basically the Carry On films, you know, all your favourite characters in that and the great lines like Sid James with his laughter. Well, I know it's bloody crap, innit? But anyway, yeah, I'll be doing that. That'll be launched next week. Also, I've got the Hammer Horror group as well. As you know, I've got the Hammer Horror page on Facebook, and this will be basically to do with that. It'll be an extension for the group with the page itself. So I'll be linking both of them together. And basically, I think it will be a big hit. So great stuff. Anyway, I also like to thank everybody for accepting my invites to join my groups. I appreciate it very much because without you, I haven't got any groups. You're the ones that matter for me, because at the end of the day, it's not about numbers, it's about members. Members are so important. I always like to give a shout out for birthdays, and I also like to make people feel welcome. So I like to make everybody feel they're the most important thing, because everybody is equal. Except me, of course, who's not equal to anybody. Right, never mind all that. But yeah, those page and two groups will be launched next week. So I hope you will keep an eye out for that. And why not join? Well, at least you can like and follow the Hammer Horror page as well, and the horror page as well, you know, because you basically enjoyed that. So I hope these three things will sort of tempt your appetite, you know. But anyway, I think there's enough waffle going on there. So keep your eyes out, ears pinned back, and get ready to enjoy, as they say. Right, so anyway, we're moving on. And of course, we're here for the quiz, the science fiction quiz. And now is the time to leave the room, because you need to get a pen and paper. As you know, I'll be reading out the answers when I've read the questions again. When I read them again, then I'll read the answers out this time. So the first 20 questions, as you know, and then I'll read the 20 questions out again with the answers. So anyway, yes, you guessed it, it's time for a musical interlude. So now is the time to leave the room. Are you ready? Get set, get out the room quick. Here we go. Every night in my dreams, I see you, I feel you. That is how I know you go on. Far across the distance and spaces between us, you have come to show you go on. Near, far, wherever you are, I believe that the heart does go on. Once more you open the door, and you're here in my heart, and my heart will go on and on. Love can touch us one time, one true time. I hold to, in my life will always go on. Love was when I loved you one true time. I hold to, in my life will always go near, far, wherever you are, I believe that the heart does go on. Once more you open the door, and you're here in my heart, and my heart will go on and on. You're here, there's nothing I fear, and I know that my heart will go on. We'll stay forever this way. You are safe in my heart, and my heart will go on and on. Please, complaints on a postcard to Ceylon Dillon. Ceylon Dillon. I had a trouble with that one. Yeah, so don't throw your complaints at me. Alright, after that fiasco, let's move swiftly on to the reason why we're here, the sci-fi quiz featuring This Island Earth. Remember, I will be giving the answers out when I read out the questions again, as you know, if you've done some of these quizzes, and you'll know what to expect. So anyway, remember, give yourself a point for every one you get right, and vice versa. So here we go. Question 1. Give me a few seconds. Lost me thread here for a minute. I'm just trying to find everything. Yeah, here we are. Sorry about that. These things happen, you know. You think you're organised and you're a complete disorganised clown. That comes to me a lot of times. So anyway, on with the show. Question 1. Here we go. Remember, I'll read out the questions first, and then when I read them out again next time, they will be followed by the answers. So anyway, here we go. Question 1. This is a nice easy one to start you off. What year was this film released? I repeat, what year was this film released? Was it A, the 10th of June 1955? Was it B, the 10th of June 1956? Or was it C, 10th of June 1957? Question 2. Which corporation distributed this film? Was it A, United Artists? Was it B, Universal? Or was it C, MGM? Right, question 3. How much did it make at the box office? That's an easy one, isn't it? How much did it make at the box office? Was it A, 1.5 million? Was it B, 1.7 million? Or was it C, 1.9 million? Right, question 4. Which actor played Dr. Cal Meacham? Which actor played Dr. Cal Meacham, the main character in the film? Was it A, Rex Harrison? Was it B, Rex Reason? Or was it C, Rex Williams? Right, we're moving on to question 5. Now, at the beginning of the film, Dr. Cal Meacham was having his photo taken by his news photographers. How many photographers were there in the opening scene? Was it A, 6? Was it B, 8? Or was it C, 10? Right, moving on to question 6. What was the name of the jet that he was flying into his laboratory? I don't mean into his laboratory, flying to his laboratory in. Was it A, Loch Lomond Z34 Dynamic 66? Was it B, Lockheed T33 Shooting Star? Or was it C, Super Jupiter X33 Atomic? Yeah, I know, it's a nice easy one, isn't it? Question 7. What happened to Dr. Cal Meacham in mid-air when he was flying to his laboratory? Something happened to him in mid-air. If you've seen the film, you know what I mean. Was it A, he lost control and had to eject from the plane? Was it B, his plane was enshrouded by a green glow? Or was it C, his plane and himself vanished from radar for a few minutes? Right, moving on to question 8. What field was Dr. Carl Meacham an expert in? I repeat, what was his expertise? That's what I mean by that. Was it A, an astrophysicist? Was it B, electronics? Or was it C, a mathematician? Right, question 9. When Meacham arrived at his laboratory, he discovered instructions to build a what? Was it A, a jet engine? Was it B, an interocitor? Or was it C, a new type of computer? Right, moving on to question 11. Question 10 again, getting above myself here. Question 10. This one's a two-part question. So we'll start off with question 10A. What was the name of Meacham's assistant? That's the one that worked in the laboratory with him. What was the name of Meacham's assistant? Was it A, Kevin Mitchell? Was it B, Joe Wilson? Or was it C, Harry Taylor? Right, now for the second part of question 10. Question 10B. And who was the actor that played that character? Was it A, Jeff Morrow? Was it B, Robert Nichols? Or was it C, Lance Fuller? Right, moving on to question 11 this time. This is question 11. When Dr. Meacham was invited by a strange character called Exeter over a video monitor, what did he need Meacham for? Was it A, to help alongside a group of scientists on a secret project? Was it B, to make a superjet engine? Or was it C, to design blueprints for a new weapon? Right, moving on to question 12. When Dr. Meacham agreed to go, where did the plane take him? I'll inform you, this was in America. So, like everything else in science fiction, most of these films are in America. So you know what state I'm talking about. So, where did the plane take him? Was it in California? That's A. Was it B, Sacramento? B. Or was it C, Georgia? Right, question 13, unlucky for some. When he was met by another scientist, when the plane landed, the scientist pretended not to know him. Who was that scientist? Was it A, Steve Carlson? Was it B, Barack? Or was it C, Ruth Adams? Right, question 14. How many decided to make a break for it when they learned the awful truth about why Exeter brought them there in the first place? Was it A, 2 of them? Was it B, 3 of them? Or was it C, 4 of them? Right, question 15. Where was the flying saucer concealed? If you've watched the film, you know what I mean. Again, it was hidden somewhere, but when they started to make a break for it, the saucer revealed itself from wherever it was camouflaged. So here we go. Was it A, the mountain? Was it B, the lake? Or was it C, the woods? Right, so we're moving on to question 16. We're closing in on the final hurdles before we get into the answers. Question 16. What planet of origin did Exeter actually come from? Was it A, Metabeta? Was it B, Metarata? Or was it C, Metaluna? Question 17. Who were they at war with? That's Exeter's race, alien race, the race he from this system he comes from. I won't tell you what the planet is because that's the question I've just given for those 3 possible answers, so I don't want to give too much away. But they're at war with another race. Who were they at war with? Was it A, the Zygons? Well, that's an unusual one, isn't it? To cross over 2 time streams. Was it B, the Zargons, or the Zagons? Or was it C, the Polygons? Right, I'm not going to answer that one. Right, question 18. How did Dr. Meacham and Ruth escape the planet before it was destroyed? How did they escape before the planet was destroyed? Was it A, they dematerialized out of there by transmat into the saucer itself? Was it B, they stole a space saucer? Or was it C, they were helped by Exeter? Right, did you understand that? I think I didn't either, so I agree with you. Shall I read it again? Yeah. Question 18, here we go again. How did Meacham and Ruth escape the planet before it was destroyed? Was it A, they rematerialised, or shall I say dematerialised? They dematerialised out of there and came on board the spaceship to get them out of there quick? Was it B, they stole a space saucer and learnt the controls in all 2 minutes to fly off quickly before the planet blew up? Or was it C, they were helped by Exeter, who obviously was an expert on how to fly those things? So it's got to be one of those three answers. I think you know which one. Question 19. When they did return to Earth, what happened to Exeter? When they returned to Earth, what actually happened to Exeter? Was it A, he went with them? Was it B, he remained on the saucer until it crashed? Or was it C, he decided to explore Disney World and do some sightseeing? I suppose it's feasible, isn't it? Right, question 20. This is the final one, and then we move into the questions and answers. Here we go. Question 20. What was the name of the creatures that the aliens used as watchdogs? You've seen them on many little card things, you know, if you're sci-fi collector and stuff. They do look like a cross between an insect, but I won't give you the right name of it yet. But anyway, what was the name of the creatures, the insects I'm talking about, that they grew in a laboratory and they sort of conditioned them to obey their commands? Was it A, the hemorrhoids? Was it B, the mutoids? Or was it C, the mutants? Right, we're ready for the second part of this, where we move into questions and answers. Are you ready? Yes, that's me shuffling a few papers around, you know, get myself organised. Otherwise I'll be reading out the wrong answers. But don't worry, I am in control. Right, okay then. I'll just take a sip of water. Oh, that's good. I'll take a quick drag of my cig. And I have a good cough. Right, are you ready? Let's play, and then I shall begin with question 1. Remember remember this one. Remember, it wasn't that easy actually. I had trouble finding the answer to this one, but I managed to find what the fact was on this date. This was about when it was actually released, the film. Was it the 10th of June 1955? Was it B, the 10th of June 1956? Or was it C, 10th of June 1957? This is when the film was actually released. The answer is the 10th of June 1955. That'll be A. Right, question 2. Which corporation distributed this film? In other words, who's behind it? Who's the big backers, as they say? Was it A, United Artists? Was it B, Universal? Or was it C, MGM? The answer is B, Universal. They weren't just a horror, they also did everything, you know. They did a lot of stuff, you know that anyway, you don't need me to tell you that, but they did a lot of science fiction as well. Not a lot, but they did sort of a good fair share of it. So anyway, the answer was B, Universal. Right, question 3. How much did it make at the box office? Which is quite considerably a lot, considering this is in the 1950s. Right, was it A, 1.5 million? Was it B, 1.7 million? Or was it C, 1.9 million? The answer is 1.7 million. Okay then, question 4. Which actor played Dr. Cal Meacham? Was it A, Rex Harrison? Was it B, Rex Reason? Or was it C, Rex Williams? Well, I can tell you what the answer isn't. It's not Rex Williams, because he's a world billiards player in the 80s, and he became a snooker commentator for BBC. Rex Harrison, as you know, My Fair Lady, so no, I don't think so. But it's obviously, it's not a name that sticks out actually, but it's actually B, Rex Reason. I could see why he picked it. He thought it was a great, it's a great thing to say at the time, but I don't know if anyone remembers Rex Reason. He came off as a powerful character, but he was pretty good in it. So the answer is Rex Reason, B. Right, moving on to question 5. At the beginning of the film, Dr. Cal Meacham was having his photo taken by news photographers as he was giving his interview. This is at the beginning of the film. How many photographers were there? Was it A, 6? Was it B, 8? Was it C, 10? It's actually 8, B. I had to count them myself because one of them was concealed behind another and I thought it was 7. So another 2 seconds I looked and there he was. The other one was behind him. Probably it was another extra they brought in, just to give it a bit more crowd. Anyway, so that's question 5, and now we're moving on to question 6. What was the name of the jet that he was flying in? That's Dr. Cal Meacham. He's obviously he flew himself to. I mean, there's other ways to do it, but he goes by jet these days, I think. So anyway, what a way to travel. What was the name of that jet plane he was flying in? Was it A, Loch Lomond Z-34 Dynamic 66? Was it B, Lockheed T-33 Shooting Star? Or was it C, Super Jupiter X-33 Atomic? The answer is, as you know, it's Lockheed T-33 Shooting Star, because the other two I bloody made up. Ha ha! No, Lockheed is obviously the big manufacturers, like the military industrial complex. They are part of it. They supply all the massive weapons of mass destruction, as we know. Anyway, so it's Lockheed T-33 Shooting Star. B. Question 7. What happened to Dr. Cal Meacham in midair when flying to his laboratory? If you've seen the film, you know what I mean. Something happened to him mid-flight. So what was it? Did he A, lose control and had to eject the plane? Was it B, his plane was enshrouded by a green glow? And was it C, his plane and himself vanished from radar for a few minutes? The answer is B, his plane was enshrouded by a green glow. As you know, the UFO above him, the flying saucer, controlled his plane. So so the answer was basically B, his plane was enshrouded by a green glow. Right, question 8. What field was Dr. Cal Meacham an expert in? What was his expertise, as they say? Was it A, he was an astrophysicist? Was it B, he was an electronics expert? Or was it C, he was a mathematician? If it's flying planes, I'd say something to do with electronics, wouldn't you? So the answer is B, electronics. Right, question 9. When Dr. Meacham arrived at his laboratory, he discovered instructions to build a what? This is where he comes in with his assistant and they find these instructions here. They actually wanted something to replace this sort of bead-looking thing, like a conductor. And when they sent off for it, in fact, it didn't. The manufacturers that supply them don't have it. So they received 2 in a post from an unknown source, and these conductors could take, I don't know, was it of 1,300 volts through it before it blew up. But anyway, they're obviously of not Earth design, you could say. So anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, and so basically he had to. He had these instructions laid there. I mean, as they do in scripts, they add it all in, yeah. But so, as you expect, the instructions were on the table. He read them, and basically, this question is basically what was in the instructions, and what was basically what did they want to? What is he meant to build? Was it A, a jet engine? Was it B, an interocitor? Or was it C, a new type of computer? The answer is an interocitor. it is a technical scientific name, yeah, but this interocitor was basically a video screen, and it also was armed with laser beams. With the Exeter on the video looking down on them, you know, so you've probably seen it. But yeah, that's what it was. That's what he had to build, an interocitor. Right, we're moving on to question 3. Sorry, question 3. Did I say question 3? No, I meant question 10. Question 10. This is a 2-part question, by the way. So we move on to question 10A. What was the name of Dr. Cal Meacham's assistant, the person I was just saying that was sort of went in the room with him, you know, he's always his assistant sort of thing. Was it A, Kevin Mitchell? Was it B, Joe Wilson? Or was it C, Harry Taylor? The answer is B, Joe Wilson. The second part of this question concerns Joe Wilson. And who was the actor that played Joe Wilson? Was it A, Jeff Morrow? Was it B, Robert Nichols? Or was it C, Lance Fuller? The answer is B, Robert Nichols, who actually appeared in many films from the late 40s to the early 90s, including Escape from Planet of the Apes and Westworld with Yul Brynner, and Superman, I think, with Christopher Reeves. He wasn't the main player, obviously, but he was always in bit parts, you know. And he also appeared in many British films in the 60s, so that's interesting. And most notably, the 1963 British comedy Come Fly With Me. And sadly, he passed away in 2013. But he's part of scientific folklore. Anyway, question 11. Even though that information was irrelevant, but I thought I'd add it in anyway. Question 11. When Dr. Meacham was invited by a strange character called Exeter over a video monitor, which is the oscillator, what did he say? Okay, shall I? When Meacham, I'll have to start again, sorry, I couldn't stop laughing. When Meacham was invited by a strange character called Exeter over a video monitor, what did he need Meacham for? In other words, why did he invite him? Was it A, to help alongside a group of scientists on a secret project? Was it B, to make a superjet engine? Or C, to design blueprints for a new weapon? Well, if you was an alien super race, you'd probably have your own anyway, so that won't be it. And all the way to be invited just to make a superjet engine, leave it out. Now, the answer is to help alongside a group of scientists on a secret project. That was basically trying to find a defence barrier, you know, like use a force field, because obviously the planet he came from, being at war and everything, all their resources had been completely depleted, so they used our Earth scientists to come up with without telling them, obviously, you know, they're not going to say we're an alien race and we need your help. No, that's like saying I'm a con man, watch out, you know, on the sandwich board, I'm a con man. You're not going to say I'm a con man, are you? No, of course not. So basically he sort of under the subterfuge, sorry, I got it right that time. He sort of convinced them they were working for a greater cause. They thought they were working for the government. They're working for another alien race. It's possible, I suppose, if it's films. Yeah, so it was basically to help alongside a group of scientists on a secret project to come up with a great defence barrier for his planet, who had been bombarded by missiles from this alien race that they've gone to war with. So anyway, enough of that. So the answer was A. Right, we're closing into the big time now with the final questions. Here we go. Question 12. When Dr. Meacham agreed to go, where did the plane take him? When he actually said, I'll go. A plane would pick him up, and basically it was automated, so there was no pilot on board. It was just programmed to fly him whatever destination it was programmed to fly him. So I want to know, out of these 3 possible answers, where did it fly him to? Was it A, California? Was it B, Sacramento? Or was it C, Georgia? The answer was Georgia, in a very secluded spot. It had to be, didn't it? You can't do it where there's a lot of people about. So anyway, it's C, Georgia. Right, on Looking for Some, question 13. When he was met by another scientist. That's when Dr. Meacham left, arrived by the plane, and he was met by somebody else. That scientist, when the plane landed, that scientist pretended not to know him. Now, who could it have been? Was it A, Steve Carlson? Was it B, Brack? Or was it C, Ruth Adams? Now, I'll break this down for you. A, Steve Carlson was a scientist, but I don't think he'd have a love interest there, do you? So I think you know where I'm going with this. Brack was actually one of the aliens working at the secret project. And C, Ruth Adams was the one that pretended not to know him. So the answer is Dr. Ruth Adams, C. He had a love interest with her a few years ago. When he recognised her, she pretended not to know him, you know, because of obviously she's been watched by Exeter and his cronies, you know, see if they're for the project or against it. But anyway, never mind. So the answer is C, Ruth Adams. Right, question 14. How many decided to make a run for it when they learned the terrible truth of what Exeter had brought them there for in the first place? Was it A, 2 of them? Was it 3? Sorry, was it B, 3 of them? Or was it C, 4 of them? The answer is 3. They consisted obviously of Ruth Adams, of Cal Meacham, and of course Steve Carlson. But unfortunately, Steve Carlson kept sort of diverted them. The Ruth and Cal jumped out the car, but sadly Steve carried on driving because he wanted to deflect them away because they're firing laser beams at him, you know, from the sky. So sadly Steve got evaporated, and it was those 2. So the answer is 3 of them, but 1 of them got eliminated. So question 14, shall we move on? Question 14. How many decided... I've just done that one, haven't I? Yeah. Question 15, sorry. Question 15. Where was the flying saucer concealed when it was revealed? I'll do that again. Where was the flying saucer concealed when it was revealed? You know, when it showed you, when you're watching a film, suddenly then a flying saucer comes out of this sort of camouflaged area. Right, it's one of these three choices. Was it A, the mountain itself? Was it B, the lake? Or was it C, the woods? The answer would be the mountain. If you've seen the film, you'll know that there's a big mountain top with the villa at the top. This is where the project is. And underneath it was this big hump thing. And that's where the UFO was. It was this big mountain, but it's like a big massive hump in the middle of it. That's where it was concealed. So it was A, the mountain it was concealed in. Right, we're moving into the final stages. Right, question 16. What planet of origin did Exeter come from? What planet of origin did Exeter come from? Was it A, Metabeta? Was it B, Metarata? Or was it C, Metaluna? The answer is C, Metaluna. Question 17. Who were they at war with? This is Exeter's race, his alien counterparts. Who were he at war with? Another race, obviously. Is it A, the Zygons? Is it B, the Zagons? Or is it C, the Polygons? Polygons. Well, obviously, if you did maths, you know Polygons is not an alien race. Zygons have never appeared in this film. They're in their own area called Doctor Who. And so it's obviously B, Zagons. I think it's too easy, isn't it? Right, question 18. How did Dr. Meacham and Ruth escape the planet before it was destroyed by the Zagons? Was it A, they dematerialised out of there by a transmat so they could shoot off out of the atmosphere of Metaluna? But that's an unlikely story because there was no transmat. Everything got destroyed, so it wasn't A. Or was it B? They stole a space saucer and learnt to for all 2 minutes learned everything on it so they could work it and fly out of there. No, I wouldn't say that was possible either. Not in 2 minutes. Not even in a film you could do that. So the answer is C. They were helped by Exeter, who obviously knew how to fly the saucer, but they were under pressure because the Zagons were throwing everything at them, and everything was wiped out. By the time they left the planet, it was turning into a complete supernova. So it turned into a sun. So anyway, that was it. That was the answer. They were helped by Exeter. Question 19. When they returned to Earth, what happened to Exeter? You know, when they left, Cal and Ruth, they left the saucer into a plane where Exeter let them sort of release the bottom so they can fly into the sky. And the saucer kept going because Exeter was on board. Obviously, he didn't go with them. I mean, where would he go? Was it B, he remained on the saucer until it crashed, or was it C, Exeter decided to explore Disney World and do some sightseeing? Well, he'd have a big shock when if he went to Disney World these days. I'm telling you that now. But anyway, no, I don't think that would have been possible either. Probably never heard of it. No, he remained on the saucer until it crashed. In other words, he was already a dead man since he had no race left. His planet had gone, so, you know, why not? As they do in films, a big finale, a big bang. Yeah, the UFO crashed into the sea with Exeter on board, sadly. I began to like that character as well. Never mind, we're on the final question. Question 20. What was the name of the creatures that the aliens used as watchdogs? Because they inbred some creatures there, you know, through mutational laboratory conditions that they had. They actually crossbred alien sort of insects, I think they were, and they grew them to big size. You probably know what I mean. They look like let's see, they looked like they had a beetle head with a brain. It was really weird looking thing, and these two pincers, you know, for hands. So anyway, and it's the one where Ruth is chased round, you know, where they acclimatise themselves to the atmosphere and they go on these big tube things and this smoke comes up. But unfortunately, one of these alien creatures got in the spaceship as they were taking off, and they were magnetised to the handles they were holding onto. But Ruth managed just to get away, and then she deliberately falls, because that's what they do in it, to make it more dramatic. She falls to the alien creature. I mean, it's bloody injured. How the hell's that going to catch her? She could just run away from it all over the place. But the alien creature grabs her by the claw thing, you know, the metal clamp thing. Anyway, she gets away. It was a hilarious bit. I laughed my way through that bit because I knew she deliberately fell over. You know, they're very good at it. That's why she's a good actress, probably. But anyway, she fell, she got away, but this creature wasn't climatized. He didn't go in the chamber, so therefore he evaporated because of the pressure of the atmosphere in the spaceship in the UFO. So anyway, enough gibberish. You want to know the answers, don't you? So the name, it's either one of these three. Was it a hemorrhoid, which I'm giving you now? Was it B, a mutoid, or was it C, a mutant? Obviously, I'd go for C. It was a mutant. I think the hemorrhoids describes me, don't it? Never mind. Anyway, that's it. I hope you enjoyed that. That's it from the quiz for tonight, and I will be back at the same time tomorrow night for the Hammer Horror Quiz featuring the Scars of Dracula. So that's something to get your teeth stuck into, innit? Also, before I go, later on tonight, I will be on Podbean with my audio show featuring the second part of the Faceless Ones. So join me for that. Anyway, it's time for me to go, so look after yourselves. All right, and I'll see you tomorrow night. Bye for now.